We've all felt it. That invisible, cold prickle on the back of your neck when a new manager walks into the room, and their charm feels just a little too rehearsed, like they're acting out a script of how a normal human being should behave. Or maybe you've experienced that friend or romantic partner who love-bombed you. They made you feel like the most important person in the world, the absolute centre of the universe, right up until they got exactly what they wanted from you, and then they discarded you as easily as throwing away a used tissue. For decades, psychology warned us about the Dark Triad, the unholy trinity of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. We thought we had the map to human malevolence. But in 2007, the science evolved. Researchers realised there was a fourth shadow lurking in the corner, one that's becoming alarmingly prevalent in our modern digital world: everyday sadism. Together, they form what we now call the Dark Tetrad. And here is the most terrifying part. These people aren't locked away in maximum security prisons. They're sitting across from you in the boardroom. They're running your department. They're in your WhatsApp group chats. And maybe they're sitting at your family dinner table. Hi, I'm Dr. Nick Keca. Welcome to my channel, The Psychology Guy. If you've ever dealt with a truly toxic individual, you probably found yourself wondering, are they a narcissist or are they a psychopath? Maybe they're just manipulative. The truth is, these traits almost never operate in isolation. They hang out together, and the reason they overlap so heavily is that they all share a single underlying core. In 2018, psychologists Moshegan, Hilbig and Zettler published a groundbreaking paper defining what they called the D factor, or the dark factor of personality. Think of it like the general intelligence of being a bad person. In cognitive psychology, if you're good at math, you're also likely good at logic puzzles because you have a high G factor, or general intelligence. The D factor works in exactly the same way, but for malevolence. It's defined clinically as a core tendency to maximize your own success, your own utility at the direct expense of others, while simultaneously holding a set of cognitive beliefs that completely justify the harm you cause. If you want to spot someone with a high D factor, you look for three foundational pillars. With pillar number 1, you pursue ruthless self-interest. You win even if it means they lose, but understand that winning to these individuals isn't always about money or promotions. Sometimes utility means gaining power, extracting emotional reactions from people, or simply proving that they're superior to you. With pillar number 2, a high D factor individual will pursue the goal regardless of who gets hurt. A psychopath might simply disregard the collateral damage. They don't even notice you got fired because of them. A Machiavellian accepts the damage as a necessary cost of doing business. And a sadist? They actively provoke the harm because your suffering is their reward. And pillar number 3? No one wants to view themselves as the villain. To avoid feelings of guilt, these individuals rely on cognitive distortions. They tell themselves it's a dog-eat-dog world, or they were too weak to survive in the industry anyway, or simply, I'm special so the rules don't apply to me. Now, when most people hear the word psychopath, they immediately think of Hannibal Lecter or Hollywood serial killers. But for corporate professionals and those of us navigating the real world, the danger isn't clinical, it's subclinical. Personality traits exist on a spectrum. You can be subclinically psychopathic. This means you have just enough impulse control to avoid a jail cell, but enough coldness, fearlessness, and lack of empathy to trample all over a colleague to secure a promotion. Because they aren't committing obvious crimes, they walk among us. They blend in seamlessly, wearing what psychiatrist Hervey Cleckley called the mask of sanity, covertly manipulating the social and corporate structures we rely on every day. Over the next few weeks on this channel, we're going to do a science-based deep dive into each of these 4 distinct profiles. We'll look at exactly how they operate, how to spot them in interviews and day-to-day interactions, and, most importantly, how to neutralise them. But to give you a foundational understanding today, here's your cheat sheet to the 4 faces of the Dark Tetrad. First, the narcissist. This profile is driven by grandiosity, a sense of deep entitlement, and a constant, unquenchable hunger for admiration. What you have to understand about the subclinical narcissist is that they don't actually see you as an autonomous human being. To a narcissist, you're an appliance, you're an extension of themselves, a tool designed to provide them with a narcissistic supply, which is validation, praise, and even fear. They're masters of the job interview because they're incredibly charismatic from the start. But once they get hired, that charm quickly gives way to arrogance. They'll steal credit for your ideas, refuse to take accountability for failures, and if you stop clapping for them, you instantly lose your value and they'll discard you. Second, the Machiavellian. Named after the infamous political philosopher, this is the master strategist. They're deeply cynical, highly calculating, and firmly believe that the ends always justify the means. Unlike the narcissist, who wants to be the centre of attention, the Machiavellian is perfectly happy operating in the shadows. They hoard information, they build strategic alliances rather than genuine friendships, and they engage in what researchers call opportunistic cooperation. They'll play by the rules and act like a team player, but only when they're being watched, or when it directly benefits their long-term agenda. The moment no one is looking, the knife goes in the back. Third, the corporate psychopath. This trait is characterised by high thrill-seeking, profound impulsivity, low empathy, and absolutely zero remorse. Studies show that while psychopathy represents about 1% of the general population, in high-stakes environments like finance, law, or executive leadership, that number can skyrocket up to 24%. Why? Because they don't panic. They thrive in the chaos of modern office restructuring because it provides a perfect cover for their predatory behaviour. We used to think these traits made them successful leaders, but recent massive meta-analyses of over 49,000 employees prove that psychopathy actually destroys performance. They don't succeed because they're good at the job. They succeed through surface acting, faking emotions to manipulate their superiors while terrorising their colleagues. And finally, the everyday sadist, the newest and arguably most disturbing member of the Tetrad. A Machiavellian will hurt you to get your promotion, a psychopath will hurt you because you're in their way, but an everyday sadist, they hurt you because the suffering is their reward. They experience actual measurable pleasure from inflicting physical, psychological, or emotional pain. In the workplace, this is a boss who gives you an impossible deadline on a Friday afternoon, just to ruin your weekend, or sets you up to fail in a meeting to watch you squirm. Online, this trait is a primary psychological driver behind internet trolls and cyberbullying. They ruin reputations just for the lols, extracting sick amusement from the chaos they create. If hearing all of this makes you want to retreat to a cabin in the woods, take a breath. It's not all doom and gloom. To truly understand the dark, we have to look at the light. In psychology, we also study the light triad, which acts as the direct counterbalance to these dark personalities. The light triad consists of 3 components: Kantianism, which means treating people as ends in themselves, not just treating them as pawns on a chessboard to get what you want; Humanism, valuing the inherent dignity, worth, and individuality of every human being; and faith in humanity, the fundamental belief that people are, at their core, generally good and trustworthy. The goal of this video series isn't to make you paranoid or to make you look at your co-workers with suspicion every time they ask you for a favour. The goal is to equip you with personality literacy. When you can accurately name the behaviour, you take away its power. You can stop internalising the abuse, stop thinking it must be my fault, and start implementing strategies to neutralise the threat. If you've ever worked for a boss who seemed to enjoy firing people, or dated someone who love-bombed you only to discard you, you've already survived the Dark Tetrad in action. Next week, we'll start our deep dive with video 2, the grandiose self-promoter. We'll look at exactly why narcissists ace job interviews, how to stop their subtle tells early on, and how they systematically destroy team innovation once they're in power. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit the subscribe button to follow the series. For deep dive articles, academic citations, and our free custom diagnostic profiling tools, visit us at keca.co.uk. Remember, if you want to navigate a world full of dark personalities, we have to start by looking in the mirror, understanding the spectrum of human nature, and arming ourselves with the science. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.